Hi friends, welcome back to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks so much for watching this video. Lots of seeds starting today and lots of comparison setups today, and then over the course of the next few weeks or maybe a couple of months I'll be showing you the results of those comparisons, and we'll see those when that's ready to look at. Today I'm going to be running a few comparisons. I'm going to be comparing the Jiffy seed starting soil with the Espoma seed starting soil. So we're going to actually sow the same seed in each of these different soils and see if there's any difference to the seeds. Another thing is I have a couple of the same kind of seeds from different companies. So let me show you. I have two different radishes, Cherry Belle variety. One is from the Lake Valley Seed Company and the other is from Ferry-Morse. So I'm going to plant a couple of both of these and see which one does better. My final comparison that I'm doing is I have this packet of Johnny Jump Ups, which are Violas. So this project is going to be comparing the winter sown Johnny Jump Ups to the indoor sown Johnny Jump Ups. And I'm going to do the same kind of comparison with some Echinacea Purpurea. We're going to see which works better, the winter sown or the indoor sown. So I'm going to get my soil moistened and let's get started. I can already tell that this Jiffy mix is not the same as the other Jiffy mix that I was using. This one has a little bit bigger chunks in it, not as much as the Miracle Grow though. I'm going to be sowing today into this 72 count tray. Actually, I'm going to be using a lot of different trays today because I have quite a few seeds to do. But this comparison project for the soils I'm going to do in this 72 count tray is got 8 different sections of 9 cells each. So set this right here. This tidy tray, this green thing here that protects my countertop, is a lifesaver. I love it. I got this on Amazon. There's a link down in the description below if you're interested in getting one too, but it really helps me out when I'm gardening indoors. All right, so I'm putting my moistened soil into my tray. I think I'm going to use a few different kinds of seeds to run my soil comparison. First one is going to be these African daisies. These are an annual. I picked these up at the Dollar Tree. And another kind I'll be doing are these Dahlia seeds. I've never grown Dahlia from seeds, so this is going to be a big experiment in more than one way. I'm going to mark my plants with their name of the seed and the date that I plant them, but also the type of soil so that I can keep track of that experiment. So I'm just going to make a small indentation in the soil. You can use anything you want. You could use your finger or a pencil. I happen to have this marker laying around. Okay. I'm going to put 2 of these seeds in each hole just to ensure germination. And I'm going to cover them as I go so that I don't forget which ones I've already planted. The next step is to put a little bit of vermiculite on top. This helps keep the surface of the soil moist. And it also helps prevent things like fungus or algae growth in the warm climate inside. The final step is to spray them from the top with some water. This is to moisten the seeds onto the soil. Now remember, the soil has already been moistened all the way through, so I probably won't have to water these seeds until after they germinate and go under the lights. I'm going to run that very same experiment with these African daisy annuals. So I'm going to make 2 tags, one that says Jiffy and one that says Espoma, and I'll plant some in the Jiffy soil and some in the Espoma soil. All right, that's 2 kinds done. I've got a lot more seeds here that I want to get planted today, so I better get to getting. I don't think I mentioned it. I'm using the Espoma organic vermiculite on top here. This is the extra fine grained one. You can use the coarse grained one too, that's fine. That's just what they had at the garden center the day I was purchasing my stuff. I think I'm going to do all 4 of these 9 packs with Violas. I'm going to do 2 of them with the King Henry variety, which is more of a purple flower. It has more purple on it than the Johnny Jump Up variety, which has more yellow on it. So I'm going to do 18 cells of each of these because I want to be able to spread them out throughout the landscape and have them self-seed from year to year. So this will be a great start to that project. We have a lot of wild violets in our yard and I love them. So the Violas will be a nice addition. These seeds are really, really tiny, and so you just spread them on the top of the soil and touch the soil, press them into the soil, then cover it up with vermiculite. You don't have to bury these seeds. See how small they are? And this Johnny Jump Up one is from Lake Valley Seed, and then, like I said before, I have a different seed company going out in the winter sowing, and we're going to see which one really worked better. Okay, this tray is planted. Now I need to put the dome on it and set it into the other room and let them come on up. Now it's time to try this Espoma seed starting soil to see what we think of it. Okay, just first impressions, there are sticks and twigs in here. So far, the Jiffy brand that I used before, that I got from Lowe's, is my favorite because it doesn't have any kind of sticks or twigs or chunks or anything. But like, here's a big, this is like a woody stem stick. So, I don't know. We'll see what the seeds tell us. I have a different kind of tray now. I'm going to be using this Pro Hex from Jiffy brand. Has hexagon-shaped cells instead of rectangular. That's supposed to help with root development and not having them become root-bound in the corners. We'll see if that has any difference on anything. So 72 cells on this tray as well. So this is my experiment tray. This has the Espoma seed starting soil in it, and so I'm going to be planting some of these Dahlia seeds and some of the African daisy seeds that I'm comparing the Espoma soil to the Jiffy soil. To fill out the rest of this tray, I'm going to be planting some Liatris, common name is Blazing Star. I'm going to be planting some Hibiscus moschutos, or swamp rose mallow. I'm not sure this is going to work in my yard because it calls for kind of wet soil. I don't really have much of that, but there's one spot in the yard that's wet, but it's not shady. So I don't know. We're going to plant it and see how it goes. And then finally, I have some more Echinacea. And again, I said at the beginning, we're going to be comparing this Echinacea that's grown indoors with the one that I did in the winter sowing project outside. And at the end of the spring, we'll see which of the Echinacea plants are doing better. And so then we'll know what method to use next year. Oh no. That wasn't good. I just planted one of these rows that already had African daisies in it, and I just planted Echinacea seeds in there. Well, that will be an exciting adventure, won't it? We'll see what happens. Who knows? I mean, it's not perfect. Gardening is certainly not a perfect thing. I was wondering why I had a leftover row. All right, well, we'll finish up this last row of Echinacea just for good measure. That's better. Okay, Liatris. Liatris are such a pretty plant. They have these tall spikes that have feathery purple flowers on them. They really are a pollinator magnet. They're gorgeous. I am able to get them to grow in full sun and part shade. So they're kind of, what would you say? They're kind of flexible. That's not the word I meant, but it'll work. It is one of my favorite plants. I've never started them from seed. I've always only bought the corms and grown them that way. So we'll see how this goes, won't we? But they're a wildflower and they do self-seed in the wild. So this should work just fine. I also should be able to winter sow these. I just didn't. I don't know why. Took you little babies in there. Go to sleep and then you can wake up when it is time. Take a little nappy nap. Done! So I told you that I was going to be using a few different kinds of seed trays today. The earlier ones had the modular 9-packs that you could take, if some of them germinate before the other ones, you could take the 9-pack out and put it under the lights while the rest of them are still germinating. This kind that I'm going to be using now is the Gardener's Supply Grow Ease Self-Watering Seed Kit. This is a tray of 24. They are not separable from each other, so you either have to put all the same variety of seed in this tray or not care that some of them might germinate before others. These are currently back-ordered on the Gardener's Supply website, but they should be shipping in 2 or 3 weeks from now. So if you wanted to get these would be a great option. I'll put the link in the description below to where you can find them. The kit comes with all the things you need to be able to make it self-watering, but Because the seeds will be going into pre-moistened soil, I don't have to worry about watering them right away. So I'm actually not going to use the support stand that holds them up, and I'm not going to use the self-watering mat yet, but I will be using the reservoir tray and the cells and the dome. So I'm going to set aside the support and the mat and save those for when the seedlings are up. This packet is Foamflower. I got this from the Vermont Wildflower Company. Ooh, they're tiny. They're very tiny. I'm going to try my toothpick method of planting these in the soil. Since there's so few of them, I could just sprinkle them like a pinch of salt like I did on the Violas, but there's only 30 seeds and I want to make sure that I get 2 per cell. This method, you take a toothpick, you dip it into water, and then you use that surface tension to grab the seed onto the toothpick. Hopefully. There we go. Well, this one is a little bit tough to see if the seed went onto the dirt or not, because it could be just dirt that you're looking at there. See, I don't know if that's the seed. Sure does feel like the seed. I wish they gave you more than 30 seeds in a pack. All right, you know what? This is nuts. I'm going to have to do it a different way. Try it this way. Here I'm going to be trying to sow my own Impatiens. I always buy a lot of Impatiens as annuals around my shady yard, and I love them. But they can get pricey when you're buying a bunch of them already started from the garden center. So I'm going to try these 2 varieties. I have Flavour's hybrid mix, which are pinks, reds, and whites. And then I have this midnight blend, which looks like it's got pinks, reds, and purples. And Impatiens, I want a lot of them, but I don't think I have the room for them right now. So what I'm going to do, I've seen this happen online, I'm going to try it myself. I'm going to try sowing the Impatiens seeds just en masse in these meat trays, and then when they have a set of true leaves, I'm going to prick them out and put them on into a larger cell pack. And that way I'll save space in my cell packs until after something else has been moved up and out of a cell pack. And I can maybe manage my space a little bit. We'll see how that works. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. These Impatiens seeds are the first ones that I've planted this year that actually on the packet asks for warm temperatures while they're germinating. The packet says that they want to be 70 to 75 degrees in the room where they're germinating. So my house is a big old house and we are heated by hot water radiators with an oil burner downstairs. Our house is not 70 degrees in the winter and I don't have a heat mat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these with plastic wrap so that they stay moist, and I'm going to place them on top of one of our radiators in the sunroom. They stay consistently warm no matter what time of day it is, and I'm going to give that a shot, and hopefully I won't have to buy any special equipment. My daughter-in-law sent me a tip that she got from a magazine, and that said that if you take a cookie cooling rack and you put Christmas lights underneath it and plug those in, that could act as a heat mat as well. So if I'm a little worried about the radiator not working, I could try the Christmas lights plan, because heaven knows I have tons of Christmas lights. Time for another experiment. I have a packet of California poppies, and I understand that You can sow these direct sow into the garden, even on top of snow. And I've seen that happen online, and I'm going to try that out in my garden. The thing is, I've never grown poppies, and so I don't know what they look like when they're seedlings. And I don't want to go out there in the spring and start pulling weeds and then accidentally pull up my poppies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some soil into a small takeout container, and I'm going to plant a few poppy seeds inside this takeout container, and then I'm going to cover it up, take it outside, and set it down on the ground right beside where I sow my poppy seeds. And then when things start to germinate in the spring, I will have some inside here. I'll know what they look like, and I won't pull them out of the garden. I think that's a great plan. What do you think? So I'm going to set this aside, and then in a little bit, I'll take you outside and I'll show you where I'm going to plant them into the snow and set this down right beside it. And that'll be my experiment with the poppies. Okay, folks, for this last one, I'm totally going off book. I'm totally going out there on the seat of my pants. I don't know what I'm doing here. I am going to try to plant these radishes in these containers outside. Now, I'm a little bit concerned that that's not going to work. Here's why. Because when I put a different container of soil outside recently, it froze solid, like there was no any sort of anything happening there. So I'm pretty darn sure that these radishes won't take kindly to being outside. So never mind, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, no, that makes no sense. Why would I put radish seeds into a container outside unprotected in the middle of freezing cold weather? That's ridiculous. So I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do instead? Well, I think I'm going to put them, maybe I'll put them in my windowsill inside and see when they sprout. And then as they are sprouting, maybe I'll move them in and outside so that they can be outside when it's above freezing and inside when it's below freezing. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put these seeds into these buckets, and then I'm going to figure it out from there. Gardening's all about experimenting, right? I have two containers because I'm comparing the cherry bell radish from Ferry-Morse with the cherry bell radish from Lake Valley Seeds. I'm anticipating no difference, but we'll find out. I like to do a little comparison, this versus that now and again. Radishes they come up really quick, and they are harvested really quick. You harvest them in like a month or less. I think like 4 weeks sometimes, maybe 5 weeks, depends on your weather, I guess. But yeah, they're really quick crop. And so a lot of people do succession plantings of small plantings, because who can eat a lot of radishes all at once, right? Not me. So I'm just going to do like that many. The thing about these, if you thin them out, you can use the thinnings as a microgreen on your salads. So I'm going to not worry about getting too many in here, but all right, and just cover them up with a little bit of soil there. All right, that's this one. Perfect. All right, upon great thought and pondering and using my encyclopedic knowledge of seed starting, I have decided that I'm going to cover these with plastic wrap, and I'm going to keep them in my sunroom to let them germinate, and then I'm going to see what the weather forecast looks like. And if the weather forecast is going to stay above freezing, I'll put them outside. I'll harden them off a little bit. But if the weather forecast continues like it is right now, which is going to be below freezing for a while, then I'm going to keep them inside. So we're going to play this by ear. I can always plant some more because I have more seeds. Out here. I know it's not cold if you're from the north or from Texas, but it's balmy 29 right now. Whew. So the poppies are planted, and they'll come up when Mother Nature tells them it's time to, and I'll be able to know what they look like based on the ones that are inside that container. So that's what I have going on today. I've got all my planting done for the day. I'll probably do some more next weekend. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. I'll try to answer them the best I can, but I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just learning along with you. If you have tips or tricks that you want to share, go ahead and put them down there as well. Like this video if you did like it, because that really helps me grow my channel. Thank you so much. I hope you'll join along on our adventure as we garden more and more throughout here in Baltimore Zone 7 over the coming season. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Jenny. Have a great day, everybody.